What's up, guys? My name is Lex. This is Poker Vlog number 7. This is episode number 2 of our Tampa Hard Rock trip. If you want to watch episode 1, go back to my channel. It's going to be right underneath this video. It's a beautiful day here in Tampa, Florida. We're going to head down to the poker room and get into some action. If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm coming out with new videos just like this 1 to 2 times per week. All right, let's get in there. Day 2 at Tampa, we are ready to play. We're going downstairs. One thing I thought was cool is they have pictures of celebrities that have played here before. They've got pictures of Ron Jeremy and Keith Urban. To quote the legend Jay-Z, "I got 99 problems and finding a seat is one of them." This place is packed. There's 30 to 40 people on each list. It took us almost 2 hours just to get down to our 2-5 seat. The Tampa staff did a great job though, even with all these people. We ended up finally getting our seat. First hand here, there's a $10 button straddle. Small blind makes it 30. We end up 3-betting in middle position with ace-king of diamonds. We 3-bet to 100 and he makes a call. Our opponent has about $1,000 and we cover him. Up comes ace, deuce, 4, all clubs. We flop top pair, top kicker. We're going to down bet to 80, trying to keep him in there with all of his aces and his pairs with a club, as well as some Broadway cards with a club such as king or queen of clubs. Small blind now check raises to $240, so this is a pretty odd spot. He shouldn't have many check raises on this flop. So now we go back to pre-flop and think, would this opponent raise pocket deuces and pocket fours in a straddle pot? Probably not. Would he raise ace deuce and ace 4 to 30 and then call a 3-bet out of position? I don't think this opponent would be doing that either. So with that in mind, that excludes all 2-pair and set combinations from his range, which means he can basically only have ace 10 plus and some flop flushes. My read on this hand is if this opponent flopped a flush, I think he might slow play a little bit more, and we really don't have any choice but to just call here. We're going to evaluate on the turn and see what he does. The turn is the 10 of hearts, and I want you guys to watch in the top left how quickly my opponent acts. Right when the turn card comes out, he immediately shoves all in for $715. The speed at which he shoved just felt a little fishy to me. If he had ace 10 and turn 2 pair, I think he would think about it a little bit longer and decide if he wanted to bet or shove. If he flopped the nut flush or queen eye flush, I think that he would just bet a little bit smaller, maybe 300 bucks. He doesn't want me to fold here if he has the nuts. So going back to the flop thought, I don't think he has any sets. He doesn't have any 2 pairs. The only hand he can really have is ace 10. But we beat a lot of ace with club kickers. We beat king jack and king queen with the king of clubs or queen of clubs. So we put in the call here for $715, hoping for a clean river. I think we're ahead. The river comes out of 9 and he says he's got an ace. He shows ace jack. We show ace king and we end up scooping a $2,000 pot here. Alright, next hand here, we're playing 6-handed at the end of the night. We get pocket kings and make it 20. A pretty competent player on the button 3-bets us. He makes it $60. We're going to put in a 4-bet. We make it $215. We go 3.5x on the 4-bet here. He has about $1,000 and we cover him, so we want to go a little bit bigger since we are out of position in a 4-bet pot. We are obviously looking for a call here. A shove wouldn't be the best, but we're going to call off either way. He ends up making the call for $215, going to a flop. Flop comes out king 10-5, rainbow. So we flop the nuts here, flop top set, 4-bet pot. It's looking good. This is a great flop, but it's going to be hard to get some value unless he has pocket 10s. Pocket queens and pocket jacks probably won't call a bet. I continue here. I bet 175 into 445. I think I should be betting just a little bit smaller, like 125 or 150. He tanks for a little bit and makes the fold, so we win a decent pot here with pocket kings, flopping that top set. Not many other big hands here on day 2. We were in the game for $1,000, ended up cashing out for $2,700, so we won $1,700 on day 2. Day 3, we get there early and we head back to the high limit room. There's one seat open at the 10-10 no limit game. Game looks great, full of recreational players looking to have some fun. First hand here, under the gun opens to 35, 2 callers. We have ace queen and the big blind. We just make the call. We could be 3-betting, but from an under the gun opener, we're just going to flat call here. The flop comes out ace jack, 8, 2 diamonds. We check. Initial raiser bets 125. Middle position calls. The button calls 125, and it's back on us. And we really don't have a choice here. We don't really like this spot, but we just have to call and evaluate on the turn. Going 4 ways to the turn in a huge bloated pot with just 1 pair is not ideal, but we make the call. Turn card is the king of spades. We check. Raiser checks. Middle position checks. And now the button checks. So we actually may be good here. The river is an 8, pairing the board. And we're going to check here to the initial raiser. He bets $400. Middle position ends up snap calling $400. And now I start to break down this hand. The initial raiser checked the turn, which was a king. So he shouldn't have many sets or 2 pairs and definitely not a straight. The middle position checked behind on the turn, so he shouldn't have any 2 pairs, sets, or straights either. This is a weird spot. If they both have aces, then we all chop, so I'm getting a decent price. I end up calling, and early position has 8, 9 of diamonds, middle position has 8, 4 of clubs. They both rivered me, and they end up chopping up my money. We made the wrong decision there, and as you're going to see, that's going to happen a lot during this session. Middle position opens to 40, and we 3-bet to 175 on the button with ace queen. We're trying to build a pot in position with this premium holding. Hopefully we'll smash a board and win a decent pot here. Flop comes out jack 9-4. We totally miss, don't have anything at all, but we're going to c-bet, trying to rep those over pairs and pocket jacks. Unfortunately, our opponent puts in a check raise to $400, so there's really nothing we can do here. We don't have any equity. If he has a set or 2 pair, we're drawing dead, so we're just going to let this one go. We're down about $1,000, not the best start for us. Next hand, there's an early position limp. We make it 50 with 8, 6 of clubs, button calls, big blind calls, and the limper calls. We're going 4 ways to the flop. Comes out 10, 4, deuce, all black cards, which matches our suit. We flop a flush. Hopefully some run goods coming. We can get some of that money back. We see bet $100, button folds, big blind folds, and back to the limper. He makes the call for 100. Going heads up to the turn, which is the 5 of hearts. Pretty good card for us. We're going to continue to bet. We bet 325, trying to get value from his sets or pairs with 1 club. He folds, we win this pot, and now we're 1 step closer getting back to even for this session. Next hand here, we're only down about $500 now. We raise ace, deuce of spades in the cutoff, small blind and big blind call. Flop comes out queen, 10, 7, 2 spades. We flop the nut flush draw and 1 overcard. The small blind leads out for 75 here. Facing a donk lead, you can either call or raise. Given the fact that the board is queen 10 high and we can have all the pocket queens and pocket 10s, our opponent really can't have those hands because he just flatted in the small blind. He should be 3-betting those pre-flop, so he can't have aces, kings, queens, or 10s, and we can. So we're going to put some pressure on here. We make it 225. Our opponent calls. So our semi-bluff didn't really work. He ended up calling, so we're looking for some help here. Going to the turn is the 6 of hearts. This card obviously doesn't help us, and it could help our opponent. He could have 8-9 for a straight. He could have queen X of hearts or 10X of hearts. So we're going to check this one back, trying to realize our equity, try to hit a flush 1 time on the river. The river is the beautiful 4 of spades. We make a flush, the best hand possible. Finally, we make a hand, and it gets better. Our opponent leads for 250, so we're definitely going to be winning this pot, but we're going to raise. How big are we going to raise? We're going to make it 850. Our opponent looks frustrated, folds really quick. After this pot, we're only down about $150, so things are starting to look up for us. Definitely the biggest hand of the night. Button straddles to 20, small blind calls 20. We wake up with pocket kings and raise to 100. Cutoff calls 100, button calls 100, and small blind calls 100. So we're going 4 ways to a flop of queen, 7, 8, 2 hearts. This board's going to smash my opponent's range. They can have all the straight draws, flush draws, 2 pairs, and sets. So with just 1 pair here, 4 ways to the flop, we're going to pot control and check. Since we're out of position, see what our opponents want to do. The button ends up putting in a bet. He bets $200. Small blind calls 200, so we're just going to call, continue on the turn, and see what develops. Turn pairs the board. It's the 8 of spades, and this pot is getting pretty massive. It's over $1,000. I think this is a pretty great card. It's less likely that they have a set now or 2 pair, and if they have a queen, then they can't really hit 2 pair on us with queen jack or queen 10 because they'll be counterfeited by the 8. So we check. The button puts in a bet of $600. Small blind quickly folds, and now it's back on us, and we have a decision. He's betting a little over half pot here. He can be betting all queens once we check twice. He can be betting hands like 9-10 of hearts, Jack-10 of hearts. He can bet 5-6 of hearts. He can be betting Jack-9 of hearts. So we're ahead of all those hands still, and we don't block any of his bluffing hands. So we make the call for $600. With $2,200 in the middle, going to the river comes out the 10 of hearts. We check it to him, and he insta-checks back. This looks good for us. We show our pocket kings. Hopefully we can scoop this massive pot. He gives us the bad news and shows 8-9 offsuit. He crushed us pretty good here. That hand put us back into the red. We're now stuck about $1,000. Now we look down at ace-king offsuit in the cutoff, make it 40, small blind and big blind call. Flop comes out queen 9-7. We totally miss. They check to us, and we're just going to check back. Turn ace gives us top pair, top kicker. They check to us again, and we bet $50. Small blind calls 50, big blind calls 50. We're going three ways to the river, which is a 7. They check to us. We bet $200, and big blind pays us off here. So this gets us closer to even. We're only down about $500 now. Maybe we can make a comeback. Going into the last hand of the night, we open up queen jack on the button 240. Big blind makes the call. We check back on a queen deuce 3 flop. Going to the turn. Turn 7 of hearts brings in a flush draw. He checks again. We bet 60 into 100, and now the hand gets a little funky. My opponent ends up grabbing 2 greens, 2 reds, and 1 black, and ends up putting in a raise to 160. We check back the flop for 2 reasons. 1, for deception, and 2, because I just don't think that we can get 3 streets of value on this exact board against a holding that he has. So when the turn comes to 7 and he check raises us, it's kind of an interesting spot. We end up putting in the call and seeing what our opponent is going to do on the river. River pairs the deuce. This reduces the set and full house combos. Our opponent bets $400, and he's the only player at the table who has tried to bluff multiple times and has not gotten it through. So I just think we have to call, especially after under-repping our hand on the flop. He shows us the bad news and shows queen 7 offsuit. He turned us, hit 2 pair on us. We lose another big pot, and this is just how it's going today. We just keep losing on the turn and the river, just getting beat up all day long. After this hand, we rack up and head out. That's about as much punishment as we can handle for one day. All right, that is a wrap for the Tampa Hard Rock trip. I just cashed out of 10-10, and I am on massive tilt. I just could not get anything going. As you guys saw, I just couldn't really win today. I just kept getting bad beat or rivered or turn, and I couldn't really make a big hand myself or win a big pot. I was down 1,500 for the worst of it, and then I ended up making all the way back up to only minus 200, and I was about to leave, and then I lost with pocket kings about $1,000, and then I lost there with queen jack. So both times they turned me for 3 outers or whatever. So it's just these, that's the frustration you feel when you play poker every day, is these hands where if it was any other river, any other turn, you could probably get away from it or lose less or lose the minimum or maybe fold, but they just somehow find these magical turns or rivers where I have to call down. My hand's too strong, especially at this game, and people can be bluffing more. So overall, it was a good trip. Yesterday won $1,700. Today bought in for $3,500, cashed out for $2,000. So we lost $1,500 today. Small loss on day one puts our total to plus $110 on the trip, so that should pay for the gas. But either way, it was fun being here. I've never been to this place before. The room was good, action was decent, wasn't crazy, but it was still good. I will be back, that's for sure. And thanks for listening, guys. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Coming out with videos every 1 to 5 days. All right, until next time, I'll see you.